Hello po, Pinky Kakampink. Itong video na to ang pangalawang parte doon sa series na ang simpleng storya ng isang may bahay. Dito sa video na to, maririnig natin ang buhay-trabaho ni Lenny pagkatapos niyang mag-asawa at kung paano siya sinuportahan ni Jessie. Pero pagkatapos ng 6 na buwan, nagbuntis na siya kay Aika. So, sa umpisa ng pagbubuntis niya, medyo mahirap pero kinaya pa rin niya. Kaya lang after na magdesisyon si Jessie na bilang mayor ng Naga at nanalo siya, ay naging dagdag pa ito sa ginagawa ni Lenny. Kasi siya na ngayon yung first lady ng Naga. So marami siyang responsibilidad na kailangan gawin. After a few months, sabi ni Lenny, parang ayoko na yata mag-aral, ayoko na yata ituloy yung pag-aaral ko kasi napakadami na ng ginagawa ko. Ayaw daw pumayag ni Jessie kasi prinamis daw ni Jessie dun sa tatay ni Lenny na pag-aaralin siya. So, tinapos niya. So, ginagol niya yung pagiging ina, yung pagiging estudyante, at yung pagtuturo ng ekonomiya. Naikwento rin dito ni Lenny yung panahon na nakatanggap si Jessie ng scholarship sa Kennedy School ng Harvard University. Libre ang pag-aaral, libre ang pabahay. Kaya nga naisama ni Jessie si Lenny at ang kanilang panganay na anak doon sa Massachusetts ng 1 taon habang nag-aaral si Jessie. Nung bumalik sila dito, naisipan ni Jessie na magtrabaho sa isang NGO. At nainggan niya din si Lenny na magtrabaho sa isang NGO. Ang pangalan ay Saligan. Maraming kwento si Lenny tungkol dito. Napakalaking hirap ang dinanas ni Lenny habang nagtatrabaho siya sa NGO. Halika, pakinggan natin.
At first, it was manageable because ano lang yun, teacher, student, but a few months after that, my husband decided to run as mayor of Naga, and he won. So, first lady na ako ng Naga. Sa probinsya, yung first lady, maraming obligasyon. So, it became a little difficult already because there would be days where I was required to do first lady roles. Okay pa yun, but after a year, we had a baby already, so I was a new mother. Doon na talaga naging mahirap. Kasi I would be in school 8 to 5 for my teaching work. Then after I go out of this particular school, I transfer to the other school to attend my law classes. Naalala ko noon, 5:30 to 8:30 yung law school. Uuwi ako, 9:00 na. Magpapatulog pa ng anak, matutulog yung anak, almost midnight. Pagtulog na yung anak, saka pa lang ako mag-aaral for the next day. Mahirap na mahirap. There were many times when I wanted to quit already. Hindi ko na talaga kaya. It was the least of my priorities. Ayoko na mag-law school. But my husband wouldn't hear of it. Parati niyang sinasabi, hindi ka pwedeng huminto kasi papatayin ako ng tatay mo. So yung compromise namin, pag nanganganak, kasi when I became a lawyer, I already had two children. Pag nanganganak, leave of absence. Pag election, campaign period, leave of absence because I helped my husband out. Tapos paunti-unti na lang. I wasn't a full-time student anymore. Wala na akong kabatch. Yung mga kabatch ko dati, mga abogado na. Basta akala ko hindi na ako matatapos. Parang my heart wasn't into it anymore. Pero after a few stumbles, naging abogado din. But when I became a lawyer, it became very apparent to me that I wanted public service lawyering. And the only public service lawyering I knew of at that time was the Public Attorney's Office. Alam niyo naman yung PAO, di ba? Yung PAO would defend clients who do not have money to pay for their own lawyer. So that was my work. I was happy doing that. Sobrang grabe yung litigation work. Naalala ko kasi most of my clients are inmates sa jail. Naalala ko Mondays to Fridays, I will be busy with litigation work. Pero pag Saturday, whole day nasa jail ako. Kasi mag-i-interview ako ng mga clients for the hearings the following week. Ganon yung naging buhay ko, but I was very happy and my husband was very supportive. But going to my second year, nagkaroon ng conflict sa trabaho ng asawa ko. Kasi nagkaroon ng wedding sa amin. You know what wedding is? Yung illegal numbers game. Galit na galit yung asawa ko, nagpahuli siya na nagpahuli ng mga kubrador, yung mga nagpapataya. Ang problema, yung mga napapahuli niya, na-assign sa akin. And we can't choose our clients. Ano yun eh. So, ano yun, out of duty, I would defend them in court. Pero kinakantsawan kami na pinapahuli ni Mayor, pinapalaya naman ni Mrs. Parang it became parang it was a ridiculous situation. I decided to quit. Yung asawa ko sabi sa akin, hindi, okay lang, ano naman yun. Alam naman ng taong trabaho yun. But I didn't feel good about it. Tamang-tama, when I quit, 1998 yun, tapos na yung 3 terms ng asawa ko, patapos na. And people were asking me to take his place. Sabi nila ako yung kakandidato. Yung asawa ko, pinapa-congressman. Sabi ng asawa ko, I don't think I do well sa legislative work. Executive lang ako, so he decided not to run. And people were urging me to run. Yung sagot ko yata noon, over my dead body. Hindi ako magpupolitiko. And I wasn't forced. Tamang-tama, in 1998, my husband was able to get a scholarship sa Kennedy School sa Harvard. And he got a very generous scholarship which allowed him to take the family with him. So 1 year lang naman yun, mid-career na Masters in Public Ad. So dinala kami, ako plus the 2 kids. Pero nandun kami, syempre wala kaming income. So tipid na tipid kami, naalala ko, bilang ako ng bilang whenever we'd get invited to a dinner, tuwan-tuwa ako kasi nakalibre kami ng dinner. But it was 1 year. When we were there, my husband received some offers, pero parang he was very sure he didn't want to work there. Talaga siya babalik. When we came back, nagtrabaho siya sa NGO. Ang pangalan ng NGO, Cope Foundation, which took care of housing for poor people. Pagbalik namin, yun na din, naisip ko mag-NGO work because I discovered an NGO also called Saligan. It's based in Ateneo de Manila. Pero meron siyang meron siyang 2 branches, one in Mindanao, in Davao, and another in Bicol. So sabi ko, tamang-tama, meron siyang Bicol branch, doon ako. Nung hinanap ko yung Bicol branch, nasa Naga yung opisina. Tapos when I applied, sabi nila, tamang-tama kasi we're looking for a lady lawyer. Kasi we only have 2 male lawyers, wala kaming lady lawyer. So I was accepted right away. And it turned out to be such a huge blessing because I spent more than 10 years in that kind of work. Sabi ko sa asawa ko, I found myself there. Kasi yung work ko doon, we're lawyers. Public service lawyering din siya, but it's not traditional lawyering. Yung traditional lawyering kasi parang tayong mga abogado, we're taught na eto yung batas, kailangan ipatupad natin yung batas. Pero yung alternative lawyering, yung tinuturo sa amin, eto yung batas, but if the laws are already instrumental in causing injustice to some people, let's change the law. So yun yung ginagawa namin. We would go to the farthest of places in the Bicol region, look for areas na hindi na naaabot ng mga abogado. And when we go there, we translate yung mga batas, sinatranslate namin into the dialect. We teach people kung ano yung mga batas. The advocacy was paralegal education with the belief that if people know their rights under the law, they will be in a better position to fight for their rights. So it was basically empowerment through paralegal education. Meron kaming sectors na inaalagaan, farmers, fisherfolk, urban poor, women and children, indigenous peoples, laborers. Yun yung mga sektor na pinupuntahan namin. When we go, we organize them. Ito yung mga unorganized na groups, we organize them, we teach them, etc., etc. So we were doing a lot of community work. I would be away many times in a month for several days. Mga 3-4 days I will be away. And I was so lucky that my husband was very supportive. Kasi every month, tinitingnan na namin yung kalendaryo. Ano bang mga araw wala ako? Yung mga araw na wala ako, hindi siya pwedeng pumunta ng Maynila. Kasi siya yung nanay at tatay ng mga anak namin. So that was our partnership. I was very supportive of his work kasi he was very supportive of mine. Maraming hirap yung pag-aabogado namin. Kwento ko na yata to sa kanila. I remember when I was 6 months pregnant with my third child, yung bunso namin, I had to go to a fishing community and stay there for 4 days. Kasi malayo siya masyado. So, pag-iisahin na namin yung modules. Pagpapunta pa lang, we didn't know na walang daan. I had to ride a habal-habal, yung single motorcycle. Ang laki ng tiyan ko, nakasakay ako sa habal-habal, rough road. Pagdating doon, sabi ng mga mangingisda, sorry, we can't accommodate you in our houses. Would it be okay for you to sleep in our bangkas? Yung mga kanya-kanya bangka. 3 kami, tigi-isa kami bangka. And I was pregnant. 6 months na yung tiyan ko. Surprisingly, the first day, you were able to sleep well. But ginising kami, 1 o'clock in the morning. Kailangan na namin yung bangka kasi papalaot na kami. Hindi naman kami sanay gumising ng alauna. So, pag umaalis na yung bangka, maghahanap kami na masasandalan, tutulog ulit kami. And that went on all the days that we were there. But that was just one of the few stories. When we go to farming communities and would stay there for 3-4 days, ganun din, wala naman doon mga hotel. So we are expecting to be accommodated in the houses of the farmers. Pero most of the time, they can't accommodate us kasi ang liliit lang naman. They would ask us to sleep. Alam niyo yung mga kubo in the middle of the rice fields. Yung meron lang mga bubong pero walang mga dingding, where the farmers would rest and take their lunches. Ganun yung mga tinutulugan namin. Katapat lang nun, off-lotion. Pero that was my life. Pag urban poor yung community, paminsan may demolition. Kami yung nasa harap ng demolition. But yun nga, sabi ko, I found myself there. Yun yung naging buhay ko for a very long time. In all the years that my husband was mayor again, because in 2001 he ran again, until his term ended in 2010.
Sabi nila pang mayaman si Lenny, pero natutulog sa bangka. Hindi pa lang siguro nila nakikilala kung ano talaga ang pagkatao ni Lenny, kaya nila nasasabi yon na masyadong mataas si Lenny. Dapat talaga kinikilala muna bago magbitiw ng salita.